you've been there recently. I think you went and took 30 people on a tour. What is it like visiting Jerusalem now, knowing what's going on?
Well, here we are, going to the city of peace and finding it's anything but a city of peace. I've been in Jerusalem regularly over the last 11 years, you know, several weeks of the year I'm there. And I have never found such tension as I did during this last visit. It was extremely disturbing. I'm still disturbed. Every time I think about the atmosphere in that city, it's almost explosive.
Can you describe what it's like walking down the ancient streets of the old city? They're cobbled, it's a pretty marketplace, and yet...
And yet, yes, it is the tension. You have the border police. I saw border police. These are Israelis in black uniforms. Their, again, presence was higher than I've noticed in the past. I saw more Israeli flags, you know, the Star of David, in areas in the Muslim quarter, in the Christian quarter.
You know what I saw when I was there? I was by the mosque on the steps, and I saw a lot of rabbis coming to pray towards the mosque. Now, of course, this is the bone of contention. The stone of that Abraham was supposed to have attempted to show God how good he was by putting his son to death. That stone's in the bottom of the mosque. These rabbis believe that that should be Jewish and that the mosque should be levelled, but I've never seen the kind of forwardness of going straight up, and it creates a tension, doesn't it?
Yes, it does, and this tension as well with these extreme religious settlers taking over more of these properties in the old city. Around the old city, East Jerusalem, it's called the Holy Basin. And I saw it also in Sheikh Jarrah. I went there where there are house evictions of Palestinians who have been living there, and these actions are outrageous.
One particular family who I also saw there were living in a tent opposite what had been their home. You've got a quiet suburban street, you've got a big house where a family of 15 were living in. Settlers come in the night, armed, don't they? Would you describe what happened to this family?
Oh, yes. Well, I think you're referring to the Al-Gwadi family, and they were pushed out of their home in August. But, you know, there are others that are having to be evicted from their homes as well by the settlers. I spent most of my time with the Al-Qud family, and I stood right next to...
Linda, I'm going to have to stop you there because we're out of time. Can you just say the website, because people who want to find out more should visit?
Okay. The Israeli Committee Against House Demolitions, www.ICAHD.org, provides analysis on what's happening. It's like the Bible of the occupation.
The policy of the Israeli government is very clear that Jerusalem is the capital of Israel, and they are not going to negotiate about it. And everything about Jerusalem is not clear, you know. Always they speak about everything except Jerusalem. And we hear that Jerusalem will be discussed in the final status, but really we don't see that this is just words, you know, nothing on the ground. On the ground, everything opposite of that. You know, building settlements, doing everything in Jerusalem, building the wall, everything opposite of that, because if we wanted to negotiate about Jerusalem, you know, and if the Israeli accepted that Jerusalem will be a part of the West Bank and the capital of the state of Palestine, you know, they will not build this wall in this way. They will not build these settlements, you know, inside the Jerusalem and outside Jerusalem, you know, to isolate Jerusalem from its body, from the Palestinian body.
What does it mean for the Palestinians to have Jerusalem their capital state?
Well, Jerusalem is the key of peace, it's the key of war. And Jerusalem is very important for the Palestinians because it's, first of all, it's their native land. If you speak about the people, they are the Palestinians, Muslim and Christian. If you speak about the holy places, it's for Christians and Muslims. If you speak about the ownership of the lands, it's belong to the Palestinians. If you look about the demographic percentage, it's for the Palestinians. Everything here say that I am Palestinian.
You mentioned settlements, you mentioned a political agenda for Israel. Taking into consideration these actions together with the house demolitions, Israel is still continuing with the house demolitions. Why do you think is that, and what actions should be done by the Palestinian Authority in order to...
Well, they will continue, sure, and I'm sure that also this initiative, they will not accept it, and they will violate, and they are now trying to violate in the street of the Palestinian side here in Jerusalem so as to quit from everything. Demolition is not accepted and throwing the people in the street in winter. Building settlements on the land of others, it's not accepted, you know. Many people in the world said that this settlement should be stopped, all these activities. Everything, you know, they are not listening for anyone, and they are just doing what they have in mind, you know. And unfortunately, an extreme government like this, everything they have in mind is very dark, very bad, very negative, even to the Israelis.
In your opinion, what should be done in order to ensure coexistence and peace in this region?
Well, I think what is important now is to be united, to have our position, strong position clear. Something else very important, we have to be very strong. We have to face everything. All the Israeli courts, they are illegal and they are not going to bring any right to the Palestinian. We have to continue to stay in our houses. We have to confront everything, you know, and to be strong in our position and not to make internal battles inside our area, really, because this will weaken our position.
Ever since the occupation of Jerusalem, Palestinians' social and economic rights have been diminished year on year. Down the line from Jerusalem, I am now joined by Ziad Hamouri. He is director of the Jerusalem Center for Social and Economic Rights. Ziad, welcome to Remember Palestine. Can you tell us, first of all, what specific difficulties Palestinians face economically in Jerusalem?
Well, really, let me just give you an historical situation in East Jerusalem concerning all the plans of the occupation to reach such an economical bad situation in East Jerusalem. You know, after annexing East Jerusalem directly, the Israelis, they try to confiscate, or they already confiscate 86% of the Palestinian land. And what kept for the Palestinians is just 14% of the land. And this is really the main point which the Israelis built most of their plan on, to reduce the population for the minimum. Then later on, they started with the element of economical pressure on the Palestinians, and this was directly after Oslo 93. They did a closure over Jerusalem, and they cut Jerusalem out of the other areas, the West Bank land and Gaza, of course. And they said that this is concerning that the issue of Jerusalem is one of the issues which has to be discussed or to negotiated later on. Then under this point, they did a big closure over Jerusalem since that time till today.
Mr. Hamouri, can we speak a little bit about access to the mosque, because this is a very important thing right at the heart of the old city. Millions of Palestinians can no longer get to the mosque, even if they live 4 minutes away. Anata, for example, cut off. What tension does that create?
Well, really, this is one of also the new elements to evacuate the Palestinians out of their land. I mean, this step, it's against the international law and against even the Israeli laws to deported some people from the mosque, to forbidden some people to go to the mosque to pray